a 15-year-old starting for Arsenal?
Harrison Price for Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. Presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sakaris with Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson, Hidden Switch is conducting things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I have family in town from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle's a big sportsman. We decided let's take him out to the pub, watch the Blue Jays game. That'll be sort of a cultural Canadian sporting experience for him.
Boy.
So we went out. We were 12 people watching the baseball game, had the hockey game recorded, did not know the score, was going to go home and watch the hockey game blissfully, anticipating the big JT Miller return game.
How'd that go for you?
Wow. Oh, my God.
I actually, the one moment where I thought it might go off was
that
when
was
I
a
read
struggle.
When I read that Evander Kane was on Pettersson's wing for the opening faceoff.
Yeah.
But it was right during the big inning for the Jays, so I was going back and I was like, do I need to see whatever happens at the opening faceoff?
Maybe there's fireworks. Maybe Evander does something finally.
That didn't happen.
No.
Just the hockey game started.
In fact, I was more struggling to watch that Canucks game than I was in the 17th or 18th inning the previous night.
Both were unremarkable.
Oh, gosh. It felt like a series of Tyler Heineman at-bats.
Miles Straw, Tyler Heineman, Ty France. They're all the same person.
Mm-hmm.
If you thought that was
been
bad,
seen separately.
If you thought that was bad, Matt, take that Vancouver Canucks team that started the game and take away their most exciting player, Conor Garland. It's about to get worse for the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, you say that, and that is probably true, although they did do pretty well on the road, and particularly early in that first road trip. And also
with Hedl, with Garland, with Hughes.
They might get Hughes back here.
Yeah.
So there's...
Remember, those 3 wins were with Hedl.
Mm-hmm.
And Garland and Hughes. None are there now.
Okay, before we get to all of that, because the great news here is, as bad and boring as the Canucks were last night, and I'm not sure if we have, we can't have lower hopes, but
No.
I'm not sure if the St. Louis and Minnesota games later this week are going to move the needle. At least your cup runneth over with sporting distractions. We had the big JT Miller return game last night, big in terms of billing, if not delivery. You've got the Whitecaps and Lions in playoff games on Saturday, and there's no overlap there. Lions are a 2:30 kickoff at BC Place, and then the Caps are 6:30 in Dallas. You have a Canucks game in the middle there as well. You got the Jays in the World Series now tied 2-2, and you have the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday Night Football, the standalone game against Washington. We're asking on the Redwoods Golf Course poll question, biggest sports week you can remember? Like, these are the teams of BC and Lower Mainland fascination, right? The only one missing here is the Mariners, and we just saw them in the ALCS. We had talked in the past, Blake, how many times have the Lions and the Whitecaps been in the playoffs concurrently? That alone is not a lot of history, let alone adding the Blue Jays in the World Series to that, the Seahawks having a great season, and, of course, a marquee Canucks game.
The fortnight is almost unparalleled, and the week in and of itself, I say the fortnight because that would encapsulate the Whitecaps home playoff game.
And the ALCS versus the Yanks.
Yeah, exactly. But
the ALCS is in the World Series. Now the Lions are in the playoffs on top of the Whitecaps.
So the fortnight's been unbelievable. This week in and of itself, just crazy. I can't remember watching so much sports on television, and neither can my family, as I've said.
No.
It is past critical in my household.
Yeah. Like I had a friend text me this morning. You say, hey, just a reminder, that concert that, a bunch of our buddies are going to on Saturday, can you make it? I went, not a chance. No, I cannot make it. I got the Lions playoff game. I got the Whitecaps playoff game. I got the Canucks that night. I may have Game 7 of the World Series Saturday.
Yeah. Back to back to back to back.
Are you kidding me?
Load up on snacks.
Yeah, and you know me. I'm going to work some college football in the morning. This is absolutely the biggest sports week I can remember.
Has there been a better week to wrap up the strike of the beer deliveries?
Oh.
Can you imagine?
There's a picket line a block from us that I've walked past several times here over the last month. And each time I walked by, I gave them, it is no fun to walk a picket line all day, especially in the rain or cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave them a, hey, thumbs up, I'm with you until the booze runs out. And the first couple of times they laughed, we all had a laugh. And then the third time I said, no, guys, I'm serious. Let your union leaders know when the booze runs out, the public turns against you in a massive way.
It got pretty critical, too. It got pretty damn critical.
I got a text Friday from my mother. We can't find scotch. Your father is panicking. Please deliver scotch. So I voted yes. I mean, we started yesterday's show saying, isn't this fun? Like, look at everything that's going on. And, yeah, it is great fun.
I was saying this in September when it was merely the Whitecaps are hot, the Lions are hot, the Canucks are about to start their season, Jays are about to make the play. Like, it was already overwhelming. The fact they are all still going.
Yeah, you can see it coming. The train was coming down the tracks here, but it's arrived. And, well, this will be it, right? Because the World Series is over. Lions got a winner. They're over on Saturday.
The only thing missing is like a major golf championship.
Well, the tennis was in Basel. You've always enjoyed the tennis from Basel.
Remember the one, the COVID November Masters?
Yes.
We had a November Masters.
That's right.
What do you do?
Our friends at the Redwoods Golf Course, they specialize in custom corporate events. If you're holding a team, building a networking event, and if you want to include some golf, there are custom corporate packages that can include lessons. They got the large heated covered range there. Be lots of fun with the workplace. Food and bev afterwards. Let them know. And, of course, they have the private and semi-private junior lessons available, flexible to your schedule for children ages 6 to 16. Set them up for the sport of a lifetime. Redwoods-golf.com. And on the lesson side, /instruction.
Mike in the chat, or is it Mike? No, somebody else. Steve says, Olympics are a bigger week of sports. Well, that's a different set of circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge fortnight. Like, needless to say, Vancouver 2010, there was a lot of sporting events that caught our interest.
But
by design, right?
By design. This is happenstance.
Yes.
This is planets aligning
That
like
is
you wouldn't
right.
believe.
That is right. Our top story brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. 8 is enough. In fact, it's too many.
It's more than enough. More than enough.
The Canucks leading scorer gone for an indeterminate amount of time. He joins the captain and 2 centers on the sidelines as the club loses the JT Miller return game 2-0 in spectacularly boring fashion.
8 is enough was more exciting than And look it up, folks. It was a TV show. 8 is Enough was more exciting than that hockey game last night.
The game doesn't come close to living up to its billing. In fact, it was Davis Schneider trying to score from first base. Dead on arrival.
Yeah. Not even close.
Miller gets booed, although not overly lustily.
No.
At least didn't come through my television that way. Upon touching the puck, he gets a standing ovation after his video board tribute. Even Elias Pettersson is stick-tapping the boards. He does relatively nothing in a low-event game, though he does pass up a chance to shoot at an empty net and to hit his nemesis, Elias Pettersson, in the dying seconds. That's how little was going on. Did you see JT pass up that chance to hit Elias?
Yeah.
Did you see JT pass up that chance to pad his stats?
I didn't see much of JT, to be honest. It was deep into the third period.
How many times did Shorty call his name?
No, like, honestly, a dozen tops.
Oh,
Like in game action. They talked about the storyline, obviously, but in game action, like, I completely forgot JT Miller was on the team. And it's not because he played poorly. His underlying stats were pretty good. Mm-hmm. But it's like he made a conscious decision. I'm just going to do my job and sort of fade into the woodwork a little bit here. And that's what he did. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't good.
yeah. Well, Mike Sullivan has been trying to drill into the Rangers that they have to play more of a north-south game, that he's trying to make it a simpler brand of hockey for that club this year.
Yeah.
For defensive purposes, needless to say. Also, maybe just a lack of offensive talent through the lineup. And, well, as Sully is concerned, that one was a masterpiece. Now, if you pay top dollar on the secondary market for that, wow. Feel your pain.
Well, and the shame is that it's a relatively early goal, not early in the period, but early in the overall context of the game. And that colored the entire, like, if it's scoreless, even if it's 0-0 going into the third, I think we might have a better third, Matt. But with the road team leading.
Early goal. I mean, it took 42 minutes before somebody scored.
But in the third, like, if it was scoreless in the deeper into the third, I think we might get a better finish. But the fact that it's, yeah, it was pretty muted. It was pretty muted.
All right, we talked about it yesterday. We played all the clips of JT Miller meeting the media yesterday morning in his return game. Said all the right things. You knew he would.
By the way, it was the 18th minute was the opening goal. Zibanejad in the 18th minute.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry, my bad. JT said all the right things yesterday. He said all the right things post-game as well. Here's Miller.
I had a lot of nerves. I just tried to move my feet and stay focused, and I really liked the way our line played in the first two periods. I thought that we had a cycle game, had an honest game, and yeah, it's an emotional game for sure. But it actually went better than I thought. I actually thought it was going to be a little worse, but it's made it through.
What was going through your mind with that? The ovation, the reaction from the crowd, the tribute?
Yeah, it's just surreal. Like you don't realize how lucky you are, and just really happy that my kids got to be here today, and my wife means a ton to me, and I just feel like super lucky that to have that support in a hockey crazy city. It was a really special chapter of our lives here.
And you can hear a little bit of emotion in the voice there, especially when he's talking about his wife Natalie and his children being here.
We all viewed it through the lens of the emotion of EP40 versus him. He viewed it through the entirety, through the lens of
the city, the market,
and the best moments of my career here,
yep,
and all that sort of stuff. That's how
yep,
he viewed it. He was clearly, I mean, whether it was genuine or for show, he wasn't tipping his hand that the EP40 story was on his mind at all.
Mm. No, he was never going to acknowledge that.
But even when he was talking, even yesterday, pregame, when he was talking about the emotions, they asked him to predict. Again, he totally took that, or took it, in the direction of the family, the best moments of his career, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
The one thing I wonder, because he's a proud guy, so he's not going to let on, but he had just about everything that he was looking for in his hockey career here. He had a prominent role on the team, profile in the market, he ran the room, and he had a letter, even if it was an A, not a C. And it's almost like he squeezed too tight and let it out of his grasp, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I do wonder if there was ever any if there has been introspection on that from JT. Like, hey, you're now playing for the Rangers, a marquee franchise in a fantastic city, so maybe he hasn't given it a second's thought. But I found myself last night thinking, boy, he could have fucking owned this town.
well, and he could easily still be here. That core could still be together. There was no need, cap wise and everything to blow that part up. I mean, and I'm going to the new cap, the new core, not the Bull Horvat core, but the new core post Horvat. That group could still be here right now.
Conor Garland leaves the game in the second period after a hit by Sam Carrick in the first. Carrick would go on to get an empty netter. Garland was not on the flight to St. Louis this morning, as reported by Patrick Johnson of the Province and Post Media. PJ will join us tomorrow. He becomes the 8th Canuck regular, if you include Jonathan Lekramacky and Victor Mancini, to be sidelined. Rick Dollywall reports it's not that serious, but hey, this is the Canucks. We'll see. Marcus Pettersson avenges his teammate with a fight of Carrick. But as J-Pat notes, took him off the ice for 7 minutes. Heat minutes on the young defenseman. He is the top pair left side defenseman with Quinn Hughes out. I get what he's trying to do. I suppose there's a nobility in it. He's more valuable to the Canucks on the ice than in the penalty box.
That's sort of what Evander Kane is supposed to be there for.
Yeah. Elias Pettersson also physical. He hits a Rangers defenseman with a good check, but again, it's a postmort of the little things for PT coming off that good weekend. Pettersson, Besser, Sherwood, DeBrusk, Kane. And especially with who's out or who left mid-game, including Garland. Those five guys, they have to be your offense here, right? You don't have Quinn Hughes available to you as the maestro. They had no shots through 2 periods. 0. The quintet would finish the game with 4 shots on goal, 16 attempts missed or blocked. Steve Valiquette of Clearsight Analytics, the goaltending guru, covers Rangers game. Rangers had 10 high danger chances to Vancouver's 3.
For expected goals, Elias Pettersson down the list, 6th or 7th on the team amongst forwards for expected goals 4. Not difference. I'm just looking at the ability in a game where they get shut out. Who provided the best opportunities to score? People might not believe this, but Jake DeBrusk at 0.85 goals for expected. Then the quartet of defensemen, by the way, and that tells you that the Canucks are going back to the point a lot. They could not get inside to get glorious opportunities. I called it a lot of half chances, to borrow soccer parlance. Like when 4 defensemen are in the top 5 for expected goals, it means you're not getting the puck down low. You're not getting great chances. But below even that group, Atu Ratu, Drew O'Connor, Kiefer Sherwood, all before Elias Pettersson rears his head. So there was not a lot of glorious opportunities for the Vancouver Canucks. And when you take out the maestro, Quinn Hughes, when you've clearly got diminished Conor Garland for much of the game and then none in the third, and no Filipino,
Yep.
this is life.
Rookie Tom Willander plays his first NHL game. He logs 12 minutes, 37 seconds, registering 2 shots and 4 attempts.
I liked him.
Yeah. Well,
I liked him a lot.
tell me.
I just thought there was a confidence in his game. I thought he did not look overwhelmed by the stage. I mean, did he dazzle us? Nope. But again, he looked fine. And he gets around the ice well, Matt. He has good instincts. The fact that he ends up at 6-on-5, he's out there for 6-on-5 time at the end of the game and did his job nicely before the timeout happened. Yeah, good. Want to see him again.
I had forgotten about this. We talked about this little trivia anomaly, although it's actually more than trivial because it speaks to how poor the Vancouver Canucks have been at drafting and developing young defensemen. Saw it yesterday from our old friend Grady. Willander becomes the first right-handed defenseman drafted by the Canucks to play a game for the Canucks since Frank Corrado in the 2011 draft.
And it was a decade before that from Bieksa to Corrado.
We have Frank on the show later. We ask him about this.
Every 10 to 15 years, the Vancouver Canucks will bring you a right-shot defenseman.
Of their own making.
Yes, of their own making.
The others they have to import.
At cost.
And they become, no, not at cost, at premium.
At extreme cost, yes.
Yeah. That's the biggest ticket item on the block usually in the NHL.
Well, at draft is no cost. At any cost is cost.
Free agency and trade market, big cost. Huge markup there.
Yeah.
Should really get an MBA on the case here.
Yes.
Foote said Willander did well, said he settled down after it looked fast early for him, made some good plays, even some good offensive plays.
He did. I talked about playing simple and not pinching too much. He actually pitched a fair amount and looked okay.
Does he deserve to play over Kirill Kudryavtsev?
Well, Kirill's a left shot, right? So you'd have to I don't think you want to make that a pairing. I would just stick with the 6 that you've got one more time.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no back-to-back, so shouldn't have to load manage, well, especially after 12 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
You said you're bringing us a new beer daily from Yellow Dog and Neighborhood. What they got today?
The fresh hop menu. Brought you the first one. Second one, the New Tricks Hazy IPA from Yellow Dog, bursting with vibrant mosaic hops, rounded out with the hints of Simcoe and Citra for layers of juicy, resinous goodness. It is the New Tricks Hazy IPA. Check it out from Yellow Dog.
Let's get to some Crave the Stats by Uber Eats. And today we look at Jonathan Quick, the Rangers goaltender, the goaltender of record last night. Of course, we saw him a lot when he was the backbone of the Los Angeles Kings through a couple of Stanley Cup championships in the Pacific Division. And his career record now above 500 against Vancouver.
But just despite a goals against average of 205 and a save percentage of 925 in his career.
That's unbelievable. And honestly, for those of us who watched a lot of those Canucks-Kings games during their heydays, so to speak, when the Canucks had a President's Trophy winning team and then the Kings had Cup team, that tracks. There were a lot of nothing nights at Staples and here.
Daryl Sutter had that team winning 1-0, 2-1 on a lot of nights. Mm-hmm. And Jonathan Quick, even in a losing cause, would have spectacular stats.
3-2 league.
He'd be, if only it was a 3-2 league with Daryl Sutter. That was 2-1 league territory.
Exactly. We're going to hear from Thatcher Demko here in a second on Jonathan Quick getting the better of him. His words, not mine, and there is a history there.
Let me tell you about Uber before you get to that.
Okay.
Because every time the Canucks are playing at home, as they were last night, you get a buy one, get one. How about a 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver? Only on Uber Eats. From game day eats to everything you need to put on a party, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Download the app. Don't miss out.
Demko saved nearly 3 goals above expected last night. I heard Steve Valiquette, the aforementioned goaltending expert of Clearsight Analytics, say he's one of 2 goalies in the league who has not let in an unexpected goal this season. He has saved every one that he was supposed to save.
Wow. And you lose that game, too.
And he had no chance on the Zibanejad goal. Now, DPD, Elias Pettersson is trying to hold the blue line there as the puck goes the other way. The crazy part is Evander Kane is back covering for his defenseman. He's in good position. He should be able to negate anything down the center of the ice, and yet he's just slow to stick with Zibanejad.
Wingers don't skate backwards.
Who drives the net and is able to tip home that centering pass for the lone goal on a goalie last night.
There's a reason when teams get up against the cap and they can't find 6 defensemen or can't afford 6 defensemen, or if you're in the middle of a playoff game and you want to even out the pairs, there's a reason why they never drop a forward back, because that's what forwards look like defending. That's why when you've got the chance to go 2-on-1 on a forward, you make sure that you make him turn.
Yep.
Evander Kane was in perfect position to cover for his defenseman, and Zibanejad made him a turnstile, because that's the danger.
It's 4 assists, no goals for Evander Kane through 11 games as a Vancouver Canuck. Let's hear from Demko on, a guy he considers a bit of a mentor, Jonathan Quick.
For sure. I mean, he was my idol. I grew up in San Diego, and he was kind of coming up through the ranks in LA, and he was definitely a guy that I always idolized. And I've been around him a little bit over the years, just kind of working out in the summer and things like that, especially early in my career. And he got the better of me tonight.
Is it the 7th or 8th backup the Vancouver Canucks have faced so far this season? And when the backups are shutting you out, that's not a good sign, because they were trying to get away with that, if you will, not playing Shesterkin, and they get a shutout.
And they get away with it. Canucks make a roster move today. Nils Oman assigned to Abbotsford. Mackenzie McEachern recalled from the Abbotsford Canucks. Patrick Alvin told Patrick Johnson that he's hopeful Hughes can return, join the team in Minnesota before that game against the Wild on Saturday. Mackenzie McEachern, you're probably not all that familiar with him. 31-year-old journeyman signed this summer from the St. Louis Blues organization, so who knows, maybe he plays against his old team tomorrow. His second tour with the Blues, he's played 123 NHL games actually with that team over those 2 stints. A 6'3", 192-pound winger.
Dave Hall was singing his praises.
Yeah.
Said he's been...
He had 2 goals in 7 games with Abby this year.
He says he's been working hard. He says the stats do not support what Mackenzie McEachern has done for the Abbey Canucks, but, I mean, this is the NHL now, and he's a 31-year-old, and, it's not good.
And have to say this, should have mentioned this yesterday, but when I heard the Canucks were holding more of a mini practice than a traditional morning skate, be it optional or otherwise, yesterday, I thought nothing of it. You occasionally see that in the NHL. I know Foote and Patrick Alvin had bemoaned the lack of practice time. It made some sense to me, all the new bodies that you're having to play on a nightly basis because the injuries, different line combinations, defense pairings. So I just thought nothing of it as we were doing the show yesterday. And it was only after we finished the show that I realized, oh, wait a second, he line skated them too? And we'll preface this by saying Adam Foote has forgotten more about hockey than any of us will ever know. But that is very odd for a team that had just completed 7 games in 11 days, even if they got Monday off. Foote has talked about the condensed schedule and maintenance days and giving guys breathers, so that sort of ran counter to some of his messaging over the course of the, 6 weeks or so that the Canucks have been centralized. Blake, the Canucks come out flat. You wonder, did line skating them in the morning sap the energy out of them?
Well, they finished okay, though.
Or is there even some rebellion from inside that room after a very irregular step from a NHL rookie head coach? I do wonder whether we saw a rookie mistake yesterday from Adam Foote.
Statistically, though, in the third, they actually got the stats back onto their side. So they didn't tire per se, but for whatever reason, they weren't ready to make a difference.
That's it. I mean, it can affect you early on as much as it can affect you late.
Although the second period is the only period that on possession and shot attempts was clearly in the Rangers' favor. And nobody scored in the second. Mm-hmm. In a vacuum, I would never subscribe to that, having the full practice after the schedule they've had.
Just doesn't make it.
But I don't know that it was necessarily the reason. I think the Rangers got out coached in the other sense of they just dumbed the shit out of that and made it such a stagnant, boring game that the Canucks never got anything going. They just blocked them. I don't mean that in shot block parlance. I just mean they just stagnated and didn't allow the Canucks anything.
And I didn't perceive it was a disciplinary thing. Like
No.
Like this was not Herb Brooks from Miracle again. But yeah, odd. And would love to hear the calculation behind that, because when you go that far out of the box this early on in your coaching career, you do have, I mean, you can lose someone on that, right? Like you can have a veteran player look at that and just go, okay, that ain't it. He ain't it. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't imagine you're going to see more of that after a loss. And again, if you want to conduct like a mini practice with some practice drills in the morning skate, zero problem with that. Like the trend has been to go more and more to optional morning skates, especially for veterans, especially as the season goes along. But it is not completely, it's not offside to hold a mini practice in the morning skate, especially if you're missing practice days. But the line skating part, wow.
Well,
from a coach who said we did our skating test behind closed doors, right? Because he didn't want to subject the players to any kind of public scrutiny on that.
There is no obvious time for a Canucks practice until November 6th or 7th.
Yeah. So the one thing the Canucks have done this year, and I will shout out and say well done by Coach Foote and their PR department, they have provided a monthly schedule.
Not legally binding, but an idea.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there will be changes, but, so unlike the Rick Tocchet regime, and frankly, I don't even remember Bruce or Willie doing this or Travis doing this either. So like today we can tell you it's a travel day. Tomorrow we can tell you when their morning skate is in St. Louis. We can tell you they have a practice in Minnesota scheduled for 11 a.m. our time, 1 p.m.
on the 31st?
Central time on the 31st. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, there is a practice day this week.
I mean,
anyways,
yeah. I'll believe that one when I see it, because that's obviously fresh off a game and getting into Minnesota in the wee hours. We'll see.
Oh, I think if Coach was determined to hold a mini practice yesterday, you can be damn sure he is holding that practice later this week.
Well, except the sports science is not getting less. Like the sports science guys are going to be in his ear going, this is not the time. And there is practice on the horizon in November. November, they got double days off in the first 3 weeks of November. You're going to get some practice time in November. But right now, if you're having practices, you're fatiguing your guys.
Foote said the Rangers were a more desperate team and they were better on the walls in the first period.
Mm-hmm. Mucking, grinding.
Mm-hmm.
Playing a road game. And the Rangers have done a very good job of that so far on the road. Considering their struggles, 4-1-1 now away from Madison Square Garden.
Well, but they don't score there. They score on the road.
Yeah. 4-1.
Yeah. And we should also mention the Rangers were coming off the 3 losses. They gave up 6 goals to San Jose. They got beat pretty soundly in Calgary. So they have a ton of veterans on that team. I think looking back in retrospect, hindsight, if you will, they were probably due for a good bounce back game and effort, and particularly one that falls along the lines of what Sullivan's trying to get them to do on the defensive side and playing a simpler game, and we saw it. Sadly, we saw it because that's one that I think just is quickly erased from the memory bank, right? You don't have the storage for that.
No.
Let's get to today's menu. It is brought to you by Greta, a fantastic spot to watch all the games home and away. Great spot to pregame or postgame because you are mere steps from the arena or the stadium. And it's an even better spot for your upcoming party or event if you need a venue for team building, sociables. Check out Greta, the fantastic street food menu. Try the smash burger. It's divine. And the arcade that surrounds the bar. Game for everybody. You'll have oodles of fun. You'll feel like a kid again. For more info, book your event, gretabar.com, or maybe you are a kid and you're just extending it. 50 West Cordova, Greta, let the games begin. We will talk to Frank Corrado here, and you're going to want to hear what Corrado, a recently retired NHL player, thought of the line skating at morning skate yesterday. Frank is not a mean guy. Frank is not a show off. Frank is not out here trying to hot take for clips or anything like that. And Frank was pretty succinct in his analysis of line skating in the morning before a game.
He's also very aware of his role in the right side in Canucks defense history.
Well, he is now.
Yes. Well, he brought it up.
Well, because he saw the tweet yesterday, yeah. But he was a little surprised to learn that yesterday. We talked to Rob Williams as well, who has a theory about the JT Miller, Elias Pettersson story. Also was in the building last night. We thought, great. Rob will paint us the picture, tell us everything scene-wise that was going on. Well,
not a Picasso,
no.
more like a stick figure.
Oh, my God. It was finger painting. Also talk a little more about Evander Kane with Rob because this is becoming a problem. Later in the program, another bounce-back victory for the Blue Jays. They even the World Series. This is getting awfully... Blake, I was thinking about this last night. So I'm down to very few teams that I cheer for now. This business sort of beats the fan out of you. And I've been watching sports 40-plus years now. There is not a single team that I has ever cheered for that won a completely out of the blue championships where I was just absolutely gobsmacked at the team that I followed and cheered for being able to pull it off.
It's rare.
At the beginning of the year in my Blue Jays group chats and whatnot, I'm sitting there going, "Oh, guys, I don't know."
Cinderella runs happen, but it rarely consummated in championships.
I was thinking maybe wild card if everything breaks right, but I was closer to them finishing 4th or 5th in the division. Then they got things going. Of course, they had that big series in Seattle here in May, and my friends are all excited, blah, 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 and then they get into playoff position, and I was still pretty pessimistic going, okay, well, Barrios, Gosman, Bassett in a playoff series versus what other teams, like they're built for the regular season pitching staff-wise. I don't give them any chance of being a World Series team, but hey, it might be fun to get into a wild card series or whatnot. I am absolutely gobsmacked that they are 2 victories away from winning the championship.
I've had the same feeling. I've had the same, there's not a part of me in April or May that was thinking, okay, they got to seal this down.
There wasn't even a part of me in August and September that truly believed, if I'm being honest.
Well, if I'm being honest too, when Mike O'Kay, the voice of the Yankees, said this is not a first place Jays team,
I agreed with him. I was like, I know what he's saying, and he's right.
It didn't rankle me at all at the time because I didn't believe them to be a first place team either.
Yeah. And yet, watching this, and this struck me last night too, and if they beat the Dodgers, this talk will pick up. They may have actually built a better mousetrap here. There might be a new paradigm in baseball going forward, the Blue Jays model. Tough outs 1 through 9, deep bench so you get contributions from 13, 14 hitters, and a pitching staff that's deep enough in starters that you have a number of options, even if maybe you don't have the big Cy Young guy in a playoff series, with the ability to bring some of these starters into games as relievers, which in some cases even lessens your reliance on those quote-unquote high-leverage relievers, which is typically how we've thought about baseball champions, right? You've got an ace or two, you got another starter or two that can get you through a series, and then here comes the 7th inning where you're turning it over to 2 flamethrowers, your closer, your setup guy, and your lefty specialist with the big fastball.
All that being said, Matt,
it's not this Blue Jays team.
We are telling a completely different story. Now Freeman has had his moments, but if Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman are looking like MVPs, it's a different series.
Well, and here's the one thing. The Blue Jays have like a 300 batting average right now on balls in play, and the Dodgers is 220. I saw analysis of this earlier. You could say there has been an element of luck to this. Mm-hmm. It's not, and that's not, and
not luck.
I don't mean that pejoratively. I don't mean to diminish them, but the fact of the matter is, in this game, we talk about the spontaneous bounces of a frozen rubber disc, puck luck affecting many hockey games.
Round ball, round bat.
Exactly. Sometimes you scorch a ball right at somebody, absolutely square it up. Sometimes you barely get the bat on the ball, Jimenez last night, and you bloop it over an infielder, and it's a hit, and it scores runs. So
getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
Never hurts.
So we'll talk some World Series, and we'll point forward on that, because Game 5 tonight with the former Vancouver Canadian Trey Savage on the mound. Not to mention some terrific accolades for the Whitecaps and Lions as they head into a big Saturday of playoff games. Tristan Blackman for the Whitecaps, a number of BC Lions. Point forward to those games. Caps versus FC Dallas. Lions versus Stampeders here at home at BC Place. So all that's coming up on the program. Let's get now to our Bet365 bets of the day. I had a JT Miller goal and an Elias Pettersson goal last night. 0 for 2. Hit me.
I don't remember what I was. But I am going to look at the money line for the Toronto Blue Jays, which has actually changed since I last refreshed it.
Wow.
I just lost some money, potentially. Down to now, plus 170 on the Jays. They've got this mystique. We'll talk about Yamamoto a little bit later, but that's a little bit frightening further on in this series. They have to seize the day here and give themselves 2 swings at winning this World Series back at home. Might not be just the one swing at that. They need this one, plus 170 on the money line.
Well, more on that in the rest of, but I completely agree with you. Here's the thing. Trey is savage. And incidentally, he makes more, as of tonight when he takes the mound, he'll have had more postseason starts than regular season starts in his major league career. That's got to be a short list. One of his best pitches is that split finger fastball. He didn't use it a whole lot. He only threw it 10 times in Game 1. He had thrown it a lot more earlier in the postseason. He used it 13% of the time in Game 1. He used it 36 and 37% of the time in those starts against the Yankees. It is kind of the wipeout pitch for him, especially against the left-handed hitters. So I think Pete Walker and the Blue Jay staff will be aware of that and be self-scouting that and saying, hey, kid, trust that pitch a little more. It's only 4.5 strikeouts tonight for you, Savage, the over-under set. So I'm going to go over 4.5 strikeouts for you, Savage, thinking there are going to be some Dodgers who, needless to say, have never faced him before and are in a bit of a learning mode, especially the first time through the lineup. Blake has had some strikeout prop bets this postseason. Some have gone better than others, so I figured I'd jump on your one of your favorite props. This segment, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game. Use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Frank Corrado coming up next. Carson Price from the historic Wall Center.
And this segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers. More specifically, the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. So intelligent, it's running the campaign itself. It called us. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe that part's a lie, but it does everything else.
The dash is very intuitive.
Oh, my gosh. You are in a spaceship. But that's not overwhelming. It's very intuitive. You feel like you've been in the car for years when you sit down.
It's like it knows what you want for dinner.
Yeah, almost. We don't want to build it up too far, but I mean, it's the kind of car that this is.
We're not too far away from, they've got an inkling for pizza. Let's just drive them to the closest pizza.
Honey, text the car what you want on the way home. It's close.
Not there yet.
But very intuitive. Hey, all we're asking, go to the dealer, take one for a test drive. You're going to fall in love. And the drive is spectacular. Yeah. Electric at home, press the EV button. It's all electric. You're saving all the gas. You need to go on a road trip. You've got that in your back pocket. The beauty of the hybrid.
And that fold-down back seat is plenty of room for your golf clubs, your hockey gear, even if you're a goalie.
Lease the SE from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down. That includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
Here's Frank Corrado, former Vancouver Canuck and, of course, TSN hockey analyst. How are you, Frank?
I'm good, boys. Electric at home. Just like the Canucks, hey?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
You know, that's part of the problem here. 2 and 3 at home. Like, back in my day, it seemed, Frank, that, like, even the 500 teams, the 87-point teams, if you will, they would be well above 500 at home. They would just be trash on the road. Now, I'm not saying the Canucks are necessarily guilty of that. We've seen this around the league, that home and away hasn't really been what it used to be. And here the Canucks are again. They were not good last year necessarily, and 2 and 3 at home this year, and that was a really boring game. It's not what it used to be.
LA still hasn't won a game at home either, and they were unbeatable last year.
The Rangers themselves.
Right?
The Rangers themselves.
But guys, we got a lot of unbeatens at home too here, right? Like, let's look at that side of the coin too.
But that's the thing. There's no rhyme or reason.
Jersey's 5-0, Utah's 4-0 at home. So
Jersey's healthy. Like, Jersey's healthy, right? And someone finally beat them last night. They caught up to them. But man, they've been a good team. Goofy stuff happens sometimes, and goofy stuff, I guess, was happening at the morning skate in Vancouver. Like, what did you guys think? When you
want to
saw
get
that?
right into this, huh? You want to get right into this.
Yeah,
this is on our list.
Right into that.
This is something that we were going to ask you about. Needless to say, a little bit surprised that after 7 games in 11 days, and Mike's got the video, we'll bring it up here, that after 7 games in 11 days, that Adam Foote conducted something a little closer to a practice than your typical morning skate, including line skating, Frank. So you pick it up from there and you tell me what you made of this.
I'm just looking at something that's really dumb. I'm sorry. Like, that's the only, like, it's blunt, but it's dumb. Like, I'm in rinks doing games, and I go to morning skates, and more teams are making it more pointless for commentators to go to morning skate because nothing is happening. There's 6 or 7 guys on the ice. You know, there's just, they're finding other ways to manage the workload, the schedule, the compressed season, and they're getting away from this type of thing. There's literally no purpose to doing that. Like, I can tell you firsthand, you're not getting some fast twitch. You're not getting your legs going. There's no reason for it. Let me put it to you this way, okay? If you had a bench press, this is right up Matt's alley, I know. If you had a bench press competition at 7 p.m., are you firing up your, 65, 70% of your max bench press at 10:30 in the morning? No, you're not. You're
hasn't
not doing
been my
any bench
routine,
press.
Frank. Hasn't been my routine on
you're
competition day.
You're building yourself up for the game that night, and the things you're doing in the morning are just helping your body get ready, not breaking your body down, and then telling your body, okay, just worked you, go like recover now, shut it down, and then fire it right back up, and expect to have legs and energy and have a little juice. There was no juice for them. That was pointless. That's the kind of stuff that guys go in the room and they shake their head at.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second, because we showed the line skating, but that was just one portion of it. They have had very few practices, Frank, because of the schedule and the travel. And, of course, it's more difficult travel here than elsewhere. They have had very few practices. They have 8 regulars now out of the lineup, although it was 7 yesterday. And Foote and Alvin have both talked about how difficult it has been to integrate new guys into the lineup, forward lines, defense pairs, with the lack of practice time. So I hear you on the line skating thing. Let's just remove that for a second. But actually trying to get a practice in at morning skate yesterday. What's your take there?
You can do a little bit more for a morning skate, for sure. I was just in Ottawa, and they hadn't practiced very much, and they got one extra drill into their morning skate. Like, you have a few different variations of a morning skate, right? You have like your one where it's just a few drills, touch the puck, get off the ice, couple 2-on-1s, whatever. Then you have your one that's more like, okay, it's a full team morning skate, 15, 20 minutes. You run some breakouts, no intensity to it, but there's lines and it flows. And then you probably have a morning skate that is that plus, some 3-on-2s where you're doing line rushes that way. And that's like 25 minutes, maybe. Like that would be considered a long morning skate in the NHL. And so, no, I don't have an issue with that. Like, you can try and get something out of it, but you can't get that much out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say you're replacing a practice with morning skate. You're just trying to get one more line-oriented drill in.
Yeah, because Foote has talked about the condensed schedule and talked about maintenance and load management and all of that. So
and lack of practice time.
So it's just the line skating where you would have the objection. The actual trying to actually get somewhat of a mini practice into it.
Yeah, you can do that. Other coaches do that. You can do that. The bringing the guys to the line, I don't know.
How much credit do the Rangers get for making them look like they were tired? Because the Rangers dumbed that game down. I think Daryl Sutter might have been behind the bench.
Well, he wasn't behind the bench when they lost to Calgary the other night, and they looked terrible. So they needed a good game. And it
wasn't an electric game, though. Back to the electric part. It wasn't an electric game, but they just dumbed it all down.
And they deserve to score more. Like, Demko was really good. That's another great night for him in the crease. But the Rangers have had nights where they look like they're the third best team on the ice. They've had nights where they've showed signs, but they haven't been able to finish. And last night they were clearly the better team. Yeah, it wasn't a Picasso by any means, but They did slow it down. There was a little bit of an edge to it. Like Sam Carrick has the big hit on Garland and then the fight after. But yeah, the Rangers have their own issues to clean up. That's not a team you're not looking at a finished product there. They've got quite a ways to go, and they would be pretty unsatisfied with how things have gone thus far.
What did you make of the crowd reaction to JT Miller?
Fitting. Like JT Miller was a really good player for the Canucks for a long time. There was a lot of people on their feet, standing O, kind of giving him the appreciation that he deserves for his time there. So I thought all that was great. Miller, it was kind of interesting how the end of the game played out, right? Like I'm sure you guys are talking about this in that market today. The chance to take a lick on Pettersson, the chance to put the puck in the empty net. It just kind of felt like, and they've been preaching this with the Rangers, it's got to be an all business approach, right? No BS. So there's kind of doing it by example, not looking for shenanigans or, sidebar things, side plot stuff. It's just play the game, win the game. Let's move on, get better as a team. Case closed.
So now he's good with that.
Especially as captain.
Now he's good with that.
Well,
now he's good with all business.
I think it's
no
two-time
BS.
Stanley Cup head coach Mike Sullivan who's probably setting that tone. And you're the captain. You've got an example to.
You got to learn sometime, right? Like you can't. At some point, you can't make the same mistakes over and over again. If you do that, you end up playing 76 games, and then it takes another 12 years for another right-handed defenseman to make their debut for the Canucks after getting drafted by the team.
There he is.
You saw the tweet.
There he is.
You saw the tweet. Canucks right-handed drafted and developed defenseman. Well, we're talking to him.
Yeah, this is it.
In the post-BX era, we are absolutely...
the crown has been passed
to Tom Willander.
My eyes almost popped out of their sockets when I saw that. I couldn't believe what I was reading.
Yeah.
And a couple things come to mind. A, it just kind of reaffirmed how hard it is to get to the NHL. And how much harder it is to actually stay in the NHL. Like it reaffirmed that. Not going to go through like the drafting that the organization has done. Like, that's you guys, people can talk about that for days. There's been some good players that have been drafted. A lot of good players get drafted. How much do they develop? So that's kind of the main thing that really sticks out. It's hard. It's hard to make the NHL and play in the NHL. And I don't know what that stat would look like in a different organization.
Why are right shots so damn rare? Like a left-handed pitcher, I get that. A right shot defenseman, why is that the unicorn? Why
my take on that
back in
is,
my day, everybody was a righty, I thought.
Well, doesn't it have something to do with the fact that most people are right-hand dominant, and so naturally they grab a stick left-handed? And then if you're a right-handed shot player and you're right-handed dominant, you do so much with your left hand, right? It's like you're not using your right dominant hand. That's just like a mechanics thing that comes to mind. I wonder if there's an aesthetic thing to it, like coaches' eyes look at left shot defensemen and I don't know, it's more pleasing. I really don't know. But there's a lot of right-handed defensemen in the NHL now. This is not
we're the true way of playing, right? Me and you, Frank, we're right-handed. It's the true way of playing hockey, right-handed, right?
I don't know. I was that way
there.
because there was hand-me-downs in my house, and I was forced to be right-handed.
Honestly, Blake, I look at it the other way. I cannot believe how many guys golf right-handed, given that most are right-hand dominant.
It's what God intended.
No, it's not. What did you make of your successor, young Willander, in his first NHL game?
Yes, I passed the torch to him. Hopefully he plays more than 76 regular season games. Listen, he didn't play a ton. But in the 12 minutes that he had, it looked like he was comfortable enough in his skating that he was willing to go to areas of the ice that aren't, industry standard, if you want to call it that, right? Like he wasn't just playing from the offensive blue line back into his own zone and following certain, skating patterns. He was willing to go down, pinch a little bit, trust his skating, get back into the play. So, that was a good sign. It was tough for him, though, because you're watching the way the D pairs are getting deployed, and I'm waiting for him to come on the ice. And it's like, okay, there's Hronek, and there's Myers, and then there's Hronek again, and there's Myers again. And I'm like, man, you just want to see the kid get into a little more of a rhythm, right? Like, I get that you're matching lines and you're being cautious, but it's almost easier for him to not have to be on alert. Like, how's the rotation? When am I getting back on the ice? And if the team played a little better around him, that certainly would have helped. But I guess the thing that stuck out to me was he was comfortable enough in his boots that he could get to some other areas and not feel like he had to play super cautious.
It was a tight game. If they're up by 2, I think he sees more shifts. If they're down by 2, I think he might even see more shifts. And I feel like Adam Foote might have been waiting for the game to get some emotion into it, and maybe he was a little bit worried about him being caught out there, and it never materialized. But I think I think he played well enough to gain some trust of Adam Foote, though, didn't he?
He should. Yeah, there should. I would say, like, if there were training wheels on, like, you could take the training wheels off and let him just kind of ride the bike a little bit now. Like, give him a push and let him ride it. Listen, at the end of the day, he's a first round pick. Like, he's a pretty high first round pick from 2 years ago. This is not me. Like, this is not a 5th round pick, unknown guy, right? Like, he's supposed to play, and he's supposed to play now and soon. So you can do the training wheel stuff with him, but it shouldn't last very long. At some point, you got to let him go. Like, that's the reality of what kind of player he's supposed to be. In Detroit, ASP is playing a ton, or he was anyways. The last I checked, Sandin Pellikka, who was drafted after him. So it's not like guys, his peers are not playing.
Well, he's going to be needed because the injury bug is still in the room and is taking down new people. 8 injured players over the first 11 games of this season. It would be comical if it wasn't potentially sewering their season here. Well, what's the feeling in the room when you know that literally every 2 days there's a new guy going down, and going down to a not insignificant injury, it appears? Like, the fact that Besser came back after taking the split lip was like, well, at least they dodged that one. But, Foote was sort of, he didn't have an answer afterwards. Like, it's just, like, what do you do? Like, what do you do if you're a player? And like, 3-4 injuries, every team's got that. I think players shrug that off. When it gets epidemic like this, what do you do?
You remember COVID? Stay 6 feet away and wear a mask? I'm joking, but like, honestly, that's part of it. Like, I'm not even kidding. There's guys that are hurt a lot. Guys don't want to be like associated with the energy of guys that are hurt a lot. Now, I'm not saying that's the case with the Canucks guys, but like, there's definitely an element to, like, I don't want to catch whatever injury bug you have. You know what I mean? I don't want to catch.
They're a superstitious lot. They are. Yeah.
And you know what? Like, okay, we talked a little bit about the no practicing and the travel. Vancouver's always going to have it a little more difficult. They're on the plane more than a lot of teams. Like, there is more of a grind element to their schedule. But New Jersey gets injured a lot every year. Pittsburgh gets injured a lot every year. It's just, some of them are flukes. Some of them are hips and groins, and you're like, okay, guys, you got to make sure you're doing, your cool downs and your stretches and your activations and all that stuff. But I think a lot of it largely is just unavoidable stuff that's bad luck. And if you can avoid it like the plague, you'll avoid it like the plague if you're a player.
Can I point forward with him here to more? Okay. Canucks are in St. Louis tomorrow. This is utterly bizarre. The St. Louis Blues are allowing 25.4 shots against per game. That is 5th best in the National Hockey League. Their goals against is 4.40. It's 2nd worst. Only San Jose is worse. Now, I was a little bit bullish on St. Louis coming into the season just because I viewed them, in this sense, similar to Vancouver in terms of I just thought they had a goaltender tandem that would lock things down to the point where you could baseline a performance. But, boy, your boy Binnington and Hofer, it has not gone well for St. Louis in goal prevention. What are they? Is it just the two goaltenders having some bad nights, Frank? Like, what's going on with that dichotomy?
Tell you that.
Yeah.
No, the numbers would tell you it's the goaltenders that really aren't playing well. Like here's the crazy thing, right? Like you said those numbers, shot attempts, right? Like second in the NHL at preventing shot attempts, shots on net, sixth in the NHL at preventing shot. Like everything across the board is like top 10 as far as preventing things like slot shots, slot passes, ozone possession time, rush, cycle, forecheck chances, rebound chances. It's all very, very good for St. Louis, except for one stat, goals against. Are they the most potent offensive team? Of course not. That's not part of who they are right now. But holy moly, man, like with those kind of like underlying numbers, they shouldn't be going through what they're going through right now. So yeah, like the goalies are capable of more. I'm sure they will play better soon. You just have to hope that when the goalies start playing better, there's not big lapses in front of them. Like the guys in front of them have to continue to kind of keep pushing in the right direction, because you don't want one to get better and one to fall off, and then you still have the same effect of what's essentially happening now. But they're a much better team than what their standings would indicate.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from a Canucks perspective, I'm nervous because I believe in Binnington and Hofer. They're going to get that turned around.
Regression to the mean.
Yeah, yes. I mean, especially even if one of them has a bad season, like one of them will improve that and improve that.
And believe it or not, the Canucks are overachieving. Canucks are a PDO team right now. Like they are overachieving. They'll regress to a worse. Like both teams could be meeting in the middle here tomorrow night.
How scary is it that you just said the Canucks are a PDO team, which is true. Like
and they're
it's
5 and 6
going in more than it should.
Yeah,
like, and then they're 5 and 6, right? Like that's you want to be a PDO team and have everything going in. You should be top 2 team in your division. Right. So that's the scary thing. Now, not having Hughes certainly doesn't help. All the regulars that you talked about, but it's like we're talking about 2 years ago now, where everything's going in. It buys you some time to clean things up, but you got to actually.
They got to 10 games above 500 doing that, and they're one game below now. Yeah.
Here's the other thing I'll say: utility club Pius Suter, his ability to play the middle penalty kill, would look pretty good right now.
Yeah,
in this Canucks lineup would.
Doesn't he play for St. Louis now?
He plays for St. Louis. It would look a lot better than what Evander Kane is looking like right now through 11 games.
Yeah. Evander Kane.
What are you thought of Kane? Man. Yeah. Would you be concerned about him now? Like, as we've talked about, there's been a lot of injuries there, 34 years old, a lot of miles. Yeah. Like, we're 11 games in. He hasn't shown us much, Frank. Are you at the point where you would be concerned about whether or not they've just gotten Evander on the backsliding, final descent of his career?
Well, he hasn't played much, right? Like he didn't play all of last year. He plays 77, 75 games, I guess, the 2 years ago. And then prior to that, he's like in the 40s and 50s. So there was always going to be like some concern that, injuries and wear and tear and mileage. And the thing about Kane is, for him to be at his most effective, he's got to be like an in-your-face player, which means the legs got to be moving. That means the intensity. That means the compete level, or else you just you blend in. And Evander Kane is not a player that's designed to blend in. Like he's had some moments this year where, he's stood out, and it's just, I just don't know if you thought you were getting playoffs Evander Kane for a full 82 game regular season. I don't know how realistic that was going to be. He's a player that you get in hopes that you get to the playoffs, and then he can be that difference maker for however long you're there, hopefully 2 months. But, realistically, you'll take it one round at a time and think that you have a really edgy, powerful guy that can change the temperature of a series. But to expect that for 82 at this point, that's going to be difficult for him.
One guy
still searching his first goal as a Vancouver Canuck.
One guy who's not going to tilt the scales is Mackenzie McEachern, but it appears he's going on the road trip with the Vancouver Canucks. This is probably salary cap reasons for the most part, and just a bonus body to have around. But I think you probably cross paths with him in the AHL a little bit. Is there a chance he gets in? And what does he provide? Because he's not an offensive guy at all.
I'm trying to think if I cross paths with him at all in the AHL. I don't even think I did. We're talking about my NHL debut, and there's guys that have come and gone since then. It's that long ago, so I don't even.
Well, he goes back to 16-17, so you're in the league with him, but clearly. But he's a former Blue, so maybe
he's a former 4-year Blue, yeah.
So maybe they feel like there's a
31-year-old bigger guy too.
Yeah.
Depth, one of these organizational forwards.
Could be organizational depth. Guy that is very similar to what you have. You guys know who Jim Taddy is?
Yeah.
Jim Taddy?
Yes, guy.
So I did,
yes, guy.
Yeah, I did Leaf games on the radio with him. And one thing, Jeff O'Neill's talked about this too. You don't want to have too many duplicates, right? You don't want to look around and say, that this and that becomes redundant. Mm-hmm. The reality of the NHL and organizational depth players, it's a lot of duplicates. It's a lot of the stuff that you kind of already have. There's not that much separating a lot of these guys anymore.
Yeah. And just so you know, Frank, you were not an unknown, okay, when you were coming up through Sudbury. In fact, I believe we've told the story before that, Gillis goes up to Ron DeLorme and says, are we going to pop on that Corrado kid now? And Ron said, ooh, I don't know. He's our super sleeper. And then the discussion was, well, we better not lose out on our super sleeper because we're a little too late to him. So there you go. You're nice. A Vancouver Canuck in the 5th round in 2011. Yeah. Appreciate you, bro.
First round in our hearts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you.
Appreciate
you. All right.
Talk soon.
See ya, boys.
Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center. We're joined now by the national sports editor of the Daily Hive and its Offside Sports Vertical, Rob the Hockey Guy on Twitter. Rob Williams, you know him, you love him. We missed him last week. And I had designs, Rob, when we booked this hit yesterday, that I'd be like, what an amazing night at Rogers Arena and the JT Miller return game. What was it like being in the building?
It was such a dud. It was... I don't know if I was just tired from the 18-inning Jays game the night before.
Maybe everybody was, Rob. Maybe everybody was.
I had my eye on the game on my laptop until the Rogers outage. A lot of people had the game crap out on them. Mm-hmm. I had it crap out on me using Rogers internet at Rogers Arena for the Rogers Blue Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. So that was a special kind of thing there. But no, it was a boring game. Not much happened. The Canucks got shut out by a backup goalie. There wasn't very much emotion in the building. I thought it was a quiet crowd. And I kind of don't blame them. This team's not that interesting right now. They're not very fun. There wasn't much that happened to warrant a big reaction. And there was some booing of Miller to start, but it kind of tapered down. It was just the first time he touched the puck, and then there wasn't much anger from the fan base there. And there was a nice cheer for his video tribute, and that was great. And then they just kind of went on and put on a snooze fest.
Well, and he didn't touch the puck much all game long. Was not a factor in the game, and didn't push any buttons. He didn't.
No, he wasn't the antagonist. No. He wasn't the villain. Galaxy Brain idea here. Maybe it was actually a really good game, but everybody, like Rob, had their eye on their phone watching the World Series game. Maybe just everybody missed a humdinger in the first 40 minutes.
That didn't happen. No? Wishful thinking. I have another theory that
you know how like PD and Miller spent so much time like acting like there was nothing to see here, like they didn't actually have a problem with each other. They almost did that on the ice too. There really wasn't many times where there was any conflict. Miller hit PD a couple times late in the game, but that was just regular board battle stuff.
It was the on ice version of no comment.
Yes.
It was the hockey version of no comment.
Yeah, PD didn't want to give us a headline, so he didn't go at Miller. I could see that maybe. You know what though, guys? I also have a theory on this. I think just as the PD and Miller and everyone in the Canucks organization were so sick of hearing about this story, but it was just such a big story that you couldn't ignore. I think Canucks fans are now sick of this story. I think we're over it. I think people are they're kind of done with it. It's like, okay, it happened. We've talked it to death for 11 months. And I think we're now finally everyone's sick of it. Like, let's move on.
Well, even if we weren't, Rob, I think last night was a natural closure to everything. Yeah. Because the only other thing we were waiting on was JT Miller to come back to Rogers Arena, get his video board tribute, and the fans gave him an excellent ovation. Blake and I talked about it yesterday. I figured that would be the case, and it was deserved for what he did on the ice.
And if there was emotion, I think the further the story gets further, but because there wasn't.
But here's the part that's very meaningful, okay? Because it doesn't matter if Rob and you and me and those of us on the media side or the fans are sick of this story or just want it to go away. What's now important is that the Vancouver Canucks dressing room and the JT Miller loyalist constituency, friends, whatever you want to call them, okay, they now have to move forward. If they hadn't already, and of course they talked a lot about that through the summer and into training camp, that group now has to move forward, understand JT Miller is not walking through that door. Your lot is cast with Elias Pettersson, and you've got to make the best of this, even if you disagreed with the decision Canucks management made last year.
Yeah, and you know what? The easiest way for them to be able to do that is have Elias Pettersson return to being a top flight center in the National Hockey League. I think we're seeing signs of that now. Like, I think he's genuinely playing better and showing a little bit more confidence with the puck. I'd still like to see him shoot a bit more. I thought that, like, when they had the goalie pulled, it's like PD becomes like a defenseman. Like, he becomes like a point man, and he's doing a lot of deferring. He had a few shots that he kind of, like wrist shots that he threw to the net, but I'm not seeing like the attack mentality. Like, I'd love to see him take a page out of Quinn Hughes's book. When Hughes gets the puck back there, he's looking to attack. He's looking to get closer to the net. I'd like to see a little bit more of that from PD, and challenge guys a bit more. When he has the puck on his stick, and look to be more selfish, be more of a goal scorer, rather than always looking for to make the smart play and the nice pass. But they need him to be more dynamic than that.
Management's in an interesting position right now because they've got the injury bug to lean on if they want to. They can just point to that and say, that's why we're 5-6. That's why we're not entertaining. But you wonder how real they're being with themselves about where this team is at. They don't care about entertainment value if you're winning. They will happily win 2-1 games en route to the playoffs. But losing 2-1 games en route to missing the playoffs is really not good. I don't think apathy is sinking in yet for the fan base, but there's a risk there. Like, I think apathy is in the on-deck circle. It's in the hole at the very least, to use World Series baseball parlance here. Like, it's not far away. Do you think management has got enough of a finger on the pulse there of Canucks fans and the bottom dollar here for them to care about that right now in terms of their hockey moves?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I just have, I mean, you nailed it though, right? Like you can win if you win 2-1 and make the playoffs. The city will get excited, even if the games are a little bit boring, because it'll be exciting to see the team win. But it's a fine line between that and losing 2-1, and that's the last place you want to be. Yeah, the problem with this team right now is they're just so uninteresting. There's just not much there, right? I think we're just kind of counting the days down to Quinn Hughes leaving town, because if it goes like this all season, like why on earth would he stick around? I think that we're seeing some really bright signs with Thatcher Demko. That was one of the keys to the season, but can this team withstand all of these injuries? I don't think they can. The Kiefer Sherwood story's a nice one to start the season, but yeah, it's just it feels like there's not much there. And I think when you're talking about apathy, I do wonder about the comments from Adam Foote, and I'm hesitant to have like too strong a take on this, because I think part of his strategy coming into this season is to just say less. Right? Don't be as forthcoming as Rick Tocchet was. Don't light the fire in the city by being overly, overly interesting. Remember how he said like he doesn't want to overanalyze things? Like that was one of his answers to begin with. But I do wonder, like just one of his answers in the press conference yesterday was how they were playing a desperate team. And I kind of thought, like, should your team not be desperate? Right? Like the margins are very small here. And it's not like the Canucks were coming in off a heater. Like they lost like 4 or 5 games. Like where's the urgency from the Vancouver side? So I do wonder about that. Like, is there danger here that the Canucks are kind of, I don't know. I feel like the urgency meter probably needs to be ramped up a little bit here.
Yeah. I think Adam's actually been pretty good and pretty detailed on things like the forechecking explanation that he gave a couple of days ago. I think with regards to his best players, yeah, he's not ready to go down that road. But then there was the line skating at morning skate yesterday, Rob, which irregular for an NHL morning skate, and you come out dead like that. Oof, I wonder what that did for him in the room with some of those players.
In the deployment, I think we haven't talked a lot about Evander Kane. I feel like that's kind of flying under the radar right now. But it's not going to probably for much longer unless he turns things around. We're now through 11 games. He has not scored a goal, 4 assists. He's leading the team, and he's leading the Canucks forwards in even strength ice time right now. Remember, he was in the JT Miller spot on the left flank on the power play to begin the year. Like, they're putting him in prime positions here. He's taking, took another bad penalty last game. He is drawing a ton of penalties. I thought that was interesting. I looked up the stats. Like, he's kind of even on penalties drawn and penalties taken. But I think that was something that has been an issue with him before. It's not like an isolated thing just in his Vancouver time. But yeah, like why is that guy getting, if he's struggling, why continue to put him out over and over and over? So I do wonder about that. Like, is there enough, like the deployment issues with this team to begin with? Like this team cannot afford to be, this team needs to be a well-coached team to do anything this season. And we're still learning about Adam Foote, right? We're only 11 games, so we'll, still time to decide that. But there have been a few cracks in there so far.
I think we'll talk more about Evander tomorrow when we'll see Pius Suter on the other side for the St. Louis Blues. Okay, here's what we bring you on for. RTMZ. We got wedding photos finally of the happy couple, Elias and Caitlin. Here we go. Tell us the story here. They finally released them.
Guys, this is like 10 bell time here at Daily Hive.
This is not a test. Yeah. Yes. Call the bunker in the Dakotas.
I immediately messaged Trevor. I said, Trevor, drop what you're doing. They're here. The photos. Wedding photos. Elias Pettersson.
Hello Magazine. And
oh my God.
Daily Hive, yes.
Yes, and his bride Caitlin. It looks like we got confirmation on the date now. They got married June 22nd. Don't know the location. Don't know a ton else, but
looks like an old Gothic castle or something.
Yeah, and they're I was also wondering, like, did they do this like was it a big wedding? Was it a small wedding? Was it just the two of them? It looked like a small gathering of people.
I didn't see many Canucks in the background, Rob. Not that there were a lot of shots there that showed a larger group. It was pretty focused on Elias and Kalen, but I did not see any Canucks in the background, but I might have missed them.
I mean, hey, there may have been more photos of that we didn't see on other invitees, but no, it looked like they had a picture perfect wedding. It looked like best day of his life, as he said.
I had a lot of questions about Elias Pettersson.
She posted the photos though. Did she post it from her own account, or did he from?
That's key. That's key. Usually the wags are the ones that post the photos. They're usually better on Instagram than the players. But no, this is Elias posted this himself.
Oh, okay, good.
He's acknowledging the wedding.
She's quite active on social, I've noticed. So
I had a lot of questions about Elias Pettersson coming into this season. The details about his wedding were none of them.
They had a dog waiting for them at the altar.
Great.
The dog participated in the wedding.
Score some goals.
Thank you, Blake. If you don't want to participate in this going forward, it can just be Rob and me.
I do not. Yeah. You guys can do wedding beats.
Harvey doesn't need a sidekick on TMZ.
This is making me long for maroon seats, honestly.
And by the way, some of the Blacks are missing cup holders. They don't all have cup holders.
Guys, I sat in the black seats for the first time on Sunday. It was not in the press box for that one. There are not cup holders with every seat.
Yes.
I did notice that.
Class warfare.
Okay, now here's the thing. So sitting in the upper bowl, they've got the bars that prevent you from falling over. But of course, those bars fit in between the seats, and that's where the cup holders go. So wherever there's a bar, there's no cup holder. So most seats in my row had a cup holder. But
the upper row is where the drinking happens. The upper.
Okay. Lastly, Rob, I want to bring up a tweet of yours from earlier in the week, but we've been talking about this as well. Yeah. The JT Miller return game, Lions and Whitecaps playoff games Saturday, the Blue Jays in the World Series, the Seahawks in a standalone Sunday night football game this weekend. Like, is this the biggest or busiest sports week for sports fans in BC and the Lower Mainland ever? Like, does it get any bigger or better than this week?
Yeah, my wife's ready for this week to be over, guys.
And it's only Wednesday.
Spending a lot of time at arenas, stadiums, and watching television. I've said this for a long time. I feel like the CFL playoffs are highly, highly underrated. Like, I know there's people that, maybe don't pay as much attention to the CFL regular season. The playoffs are always great. And when you have a home playoff game for both the Lions and the Whitecaps, I've always seen it as like one of the best value picks for the local sports fan, because the tickets, like when the Canucks are in the playoffs, the ticket prices skyrocket and they're impossible to get. When you've got the Lions and Whitecaps, the ticket prices remain relatively even with the regular season. So you're paying regular season prices for a way better atmosphere, because of course the games mean way more because it's a playoff game and there's usually a great crowd, and
there's availability too.
Yeah, and that Whitecaps, I was at the Whitecaps game on the weekend, and the upper bowl, like a new playoff record, like over 30,000 people at the game. It's fantastic, and it looks like the Lions are going to have a similar crowd for their game this weekend. So, I always just see that as like, what are tickets, like $30-$40? Like it's regular season prices, and you end up going to a really cool event. So I think it's a no-brainer.
Yep, very much looking forward to Saturday, where you may have Whitecaps, Lions. Well, you'll have Whitecaps and Lions. We know we'll have Vancouver Canucks as well, and you may even have baseball that night in a deciding Game 7.
Wow.
Of the
What a
World
week.
Series.
What a day.
That is a monster day, man. So regrets and regards to Chelsea. She'll miss you on Saturday, Rob. Thanks for this. Glad we didn't miss you this week. Catch up next.
Good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Sickerson Price from the historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. And the best plays aren't just on the ice or on the field. Stay downtown at the Wall. Enjoy an exclusive Sickerson Price rate. Call 604-331-1000. Tell them we sent you. Some blackout date supply based on availability. Blue Jays bounce back again. All 3 times they've lost a game on the road this postseason, Canada's team has answered it with a victory, 6-2. They take Game 4 at Dodger Stadium, guaranteeing the World Series will return to Toronto for a minimum Game 6. Vladdy Guerrero with a 2-run home run off Shohei Ohtani in the third to take a 2-1 lead. First of all, look at that picture. Is that not perfection?
Look at the fans in the background, the concern of the fans in the background. Oh,
yeah. All 3 women in that photo know that ball is gone. Yeah. Look at that.
That's right.
Ohtani knows it too. What a beautiful, beautiful still image. And secondly, Blake, that's $1.2 billion of ball player right there, huh?
That's a lot in that picture.
700 for Ohtani, 500 for Vladdy.
I'm guessing one of those people in the background is also worth $1 billion.
True. And the odd part is the lady right behind Vladdy, who's mostly obscured outside of a little blonde hair, that's Mary Hart, Entertainment Tonight host.
Yeah.
Big Dodgers gal.
She lasted the entirety of that long game.
She's there. She's in it to win it, Mary.
The Jays allow the Dodgers to score first for the 4th straight game.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know that you call it a comeback when you get the 2-run shot relatively early in the game. To me, that's not a comeback per se, but I guess technically it is. They shrunk, and they did not they gave up 1 run in the 9th, but it was kind of strategic in how they gave it up. They were looking for outs, so it was, it was a tidy win. They really didn't sweat it too much. Credit for the bullpen for, picking themselves up after the 18 innings and playing pretty well as well. So it's pretty exciting stuff. And now we're back to square one here.
Well, another theme for this Jays postseason has been dingers to take the lead after falling behind.
Yeah.
For this postseason. That's the most for any team in a single postseason.
Best way to come back.
Springer in Game 7 against Seattle. Kirk in Game 3, albeit they did wind up losing that one. And Vladdy last night. Incidentally, Vladdy right now is hanging with Randy Arozarena 5 years ago. You remember how great he was for the race, and Barry Bonds in 2002 with the Giants. So it could very well be, when it's all said and done, that Vladimir Guerrero has had the single best postseason at the plate of anybody ever. They use small ball, their trademark small ball, to score the other 4 runs. They get 3 2/3 of outstanding innings from the bullpen in relief of starting pitcher Shane Bieber, a SoCal guy who goes home and gets a World Series win against Shohei Ohtani, in part because he solved Ohtani at the plate, coming off that record-setting performance in Game 3 with the 2 home runs, the 4 extra base hits, the 9 times on base. The Japanese superstar went 0 for 3 with a walk at the plate, and look at the pitches there from Bieber. I mean, that is perfection.
Painting the lines, right?
I mean, there's only one pitch there that catches the full part of the plate, right? Like everything else is on the corner or just off the corner.
But you need your action to work. Like he's hit, some hanging curves, and that's it. You need your action to be good, and he had pretty good stuff last night. Did Shane Bieber? So.
Yep, he sure did.
I mean, you take Game 3 out of the mix, and, again, he hits a pointless home run in Game, 2? What's the big washout? No, Game 1. He hits a pointless home run in Game. So, really, you take Game 3 out of it, and Ohtani's been pretty ordinary.
Well, he's been pretty ordinary all postseason at the plate. I mean, outside of Game 4 of the NLCS, where he has maybe the single best performance we've ever seen from a player in a postseason game.
Two transcendent games, and the rest has been pretty ordinary.
Those bullpen innings, 2 of them came from Chris Bassett. In an unfamiliar role, normally a starter. He's the proiest pro who ever pro'd. The veteran has pitched 5 games in this postseason, 6.2 innings, 0 earned runs, 1 hit allowed, 8 strikeouts as a reliever. He went and grabbed John Schneider and gave him the longest embrace and was whispering things into his ear after he finished the second inning last night. In part, I thought, is he trying to talk himself into another inning? Is it just, gratitude for putting him on the World Series roster after he was left off the DS roster? Is it possible he thought that might be his last appearance as a Blue Jay, given that he's a free agent?
He and Eric Lauer are really great to have, because in the World Series, you ain't got time to bleed. You see a lot of starting pitchers come out in the 4th inning, and you need somebody that can maybe bite off 2 or 3 for you. And guys like Lauer and Bassett's just been tremendous. And Lauer in the extra inning game, too.
Yep.
I mean, they're indispensable.
Yep. Game 5 goes tonight with former Vancouver Canadian Trey Savage making his first postseason start on the road. He will actually now have started more postseason games than regular season games. The rookie, of course, we've tracked
Patrick Waugh of baseball.
Progress. That's right. May 20th, he was a Vancouver Canadian. June 11th, he was a Vancouver Canadian until he was called up. And here you go. He's made 5 different stops this year. Blake Snell for the Dodgers. The Jays won this matchup in Game 1. Game 6 goes Friday. No starters get announced, but you can be sure it will be Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the Dodgers. And for me, Blake, that makes tonight a must-win for the Jays. I cannot see Yamamoto losing.
Schedule the loss there.
As dialed in as he is. Last night, I'm watching the game with a big group of family and friends. And, I'm basically saying they got to get this one or they're done. And people are, where's your positivity, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Yamamoto, Game 6, you're not winning that.
No, he feels like a wizard, and you're not going to beat him. So you're right. Now, I would love to see him, further to your point. If you win this one, if you're the Jays, and Yamamoto's pitching to stave off, that's a different bit of pressure than game.
Fair enough. Yes.
Game 2.
Yes. Maybe you can rattle him. I mean,
he is human.
The guy's a machine, though.
He is human, I think, but maybe not.
And how about the notebook he keeps and makes notes, handwritten notes in between innings?
Yeah, it's creepy.
In today's day and age, he doesn't go for the iPad. No, give me my notebook. I've got a few things to write down.
What does he have in there? Yeah. Spells.
Yeah.
He's something else.
What's his name? Fitzpatrick on the golf course, who hits a shot and logs it in his notebook.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Every shot he has ever hit. Win or lose, let's hope people can see it tonight. Oh, boy. Rogers Sportsnet Plus went down last night in the 7th inning as the Jays were tacking on those insurance runs.
Never felt better to be a dinosaur, huh?
Oh, man.
Your cable is your friend.
Well, we heard from our audience how angry they were at the 30% price increase on this a few months ago. But here's the thing. If you're going to raise prices, especially by a big chunk, you really have to deliver.
For the team that you own, too.
I know. I can only imagine the hellfire that happened in a corporate office in the Rogers Tower in Toronto.
Well, you'd almost hope there was hellfire, because if there isn't,
absolutely.
Then they just don't care.
Absolutely. Vancouver Whitecaps FC center back Tristan Blackman is MLS Defender of the Year. Congratulations to him. He's just the second Whitecaps player ever to win an MLS Player Award. The first since Pedro Morales was the Newcomer of the Year in 2014. The Caps went unbeaten in his first 15 appearances of the season. 10 wins, 5 draws. He's like Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Vancouver allowed the second fewest goals in MLS, just 1.08 when Blackman played. He was named to the All-Star game for the first time in his 8-year career, selected to the U.S. men's national team for the first time as well. He missed Vancouver's 3-0 win over Dallas in Game 1 of their Western Conference playoff series with the knee injury. He hasn't played in 9 matches. Hoping to have him available in Game 2 in Texas?
I thought he'd be available in the 20 last game, so I think for this match he's probably available. He won't be starting, obviously, but I think he's probably available.
We'll know more about who's in, who's out, who's limited after training today and tomorrow, but in some ways, Blake, you almost get the sense that everything is going to be okay because of serial winner Thomas Muller, and that he is not going to allow the Whitecaps to lose this series. Now, LAFC may be a different animal if we get there in the next round.
That is a showdown.
But this from Sebastian Pereira of Whitecaps Communications. Look at this. Has recorded at least 1 goal contribution in each of his 8 starts for the Whitecaps. He's got 9 goals and 4 assists since coming over from Bayern Munich. And that's a pretty big club.
Yes, pretty big club. If they win, too, with all these injuries, I mean, honestly, between
get some rest,
between the Whitecaps and the Canucks, if they win this match, they will have a full 3 weeks off.
What?
Yeah.
How so?
Because it's an international window.
Oh, right. So you have LAFC Austin tonight. That's Game 1 of their series. We mentioned this yesterday. They're the latest series to start. They play Sunday, Game 2. If they need a Game 3, it comes a week from Saturday.
Yeah. But if they don't, it's a full 3 weeks off. So a guy like Tristan Blackman, a guy like Brian White, you would think, I mean, you could rinse that guy. Like, you would think 2 more weeks gets Brian White fully healthy, and then you just run him into the. I mean, you don't generally come off of 3 months off or 2.5 months off and go into the starting lineup, but surely there's a way you could prepare a guy like a Brian White and run him fairly hard in training so that he could. I don't know. It's the playoffs, right?
Let me ask, is it only Adekube and Veselinovic who are for sure out for the year? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, big losses, but yeah, it's just the 2.
Tough week for the Canadian women's national team. The 9th ranked in the world Canadian women's national team. They lose 1-0 to the Netherlands yesterday, and by the same scoreline to 24th ranked Switzerland last week.
Yeah.
These are friendlies, so.
But they've not impressed in these matches. There has been no robberies here.
No, under the new coach, KC
Stoney, yeah. So they're looking for answers. And it's too bad because in the immediate aftermath of Christine Sinclair's retirement, they played a bunch of matches where you thought, okay, you know what? It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, yeah.
Very encouring
The
performances.
depth of the program was pretty good.
Yeah. But the recent history,
we saw some of those young players step up and become stars or show that they were going to be the next ones. The keepers of the torch, if you will, after Christine. Jesse Fleming, I believe, wore the armband yesterday.
Sure.
Did Kadisha not play yesterday? Yeah.
Jordan Heidema back in the starting 11. Some familiar names. Veterans like Leon have stepped up in recent years, but nobody can put the ball in the net right now. So that's the problem.
BC Lions announced they've opened the upper bowl at BC Place for Saturday's West Division semifinal against Calgary. A reminder, this is a 2:30 kickoff, everybody. The CFL has moved the times up for the East, Winnipeg at Montreal, and West, Calgary at BC semis, so that if there is a Game 7 of the World Series, it will be non-conflicting or very little overlap. Farhan reports, Lalji, of course, TSN, they've already sold 20,000 tickets. They anticipate being over 30,000 as they were for the last 2 home playoff games in 2023 and 2022. Running back James Butler and slot back Justin McInnes held out of practice yesterday. J.C. Abbott of 3 Down Nation talked to Buck Pierce about it. Coach called it a very physical game in Saskatchewan. and said you could consider the days off for Butler and McInnes maintenance. Let's hope Buck's definition of maintenance is closer to the dictionary definition than the Vancouver Canucks definition of maintenance. Lions, the second choice to win the Grey Cup this year, heading into the playoffs on 6 straight wins. This, according to KPMG, they did a probability study. Blake, BC, 25.63%, trailing only the Saskatchewan Roughriders in that regard, the top seed in the West. Receiver Keon Hatcher, rookie safety Jackson Finley of North Vancouver and Vancouver College, and then special teamers Adam O'Clair and Seven McGee named to the CFL honor roll for October. Those special teams stepping up beyond Mr. Automatic, Sean White, and the defense too, with guys like Finley making contributions. They have made a huge difference in the final third of the season, Blake. Well, because the offense was been good tip to tail, and they wound up being record-setting, but they needed those other facets of the game to step up, and sure enough, they did.
And Betts, too. We criticized Betts a little bit in the first third of the season for, like, where is the pressure?
Not noticeable enough. He was kind of like Petey.
Yeah, and then something clicked, and he has been an animal. And, it's a long season, the CFL year. It's 18 games, and, it's one thing to start 5-1, but we saw how that turned out last year for the Lions. They're finishing well now, and you'd much rather be in this scenario where you feel like everything is going your way. And Matt, I ask you, like we know they've had a great showing versus the Stamps this year. Do the Riders look formidable?
No, I mean, they don't look unbeatable, put it that way.
No.
They do not look as good as, say, Winnipeg has.
Previous Bombers, no.
Yeah.
They don't have that mystique on them, that's for sure. So if you can win this one, man, it feels
Saskatchewan's
doable.
a very good team. Very good.
They don't feel special, though.
Team.
They don't feel special.
They have some excellent players on defense. They do enough on offense. I'm not the biggest Trevor Harris guy, but Ouellette's a fantastic running back. They've got some receivers. But I'm with you. Like I would be more intimidated by the last 5 Winnipeg West Division champion teams. They've gone to 5 straight Grey Cups out of the West.
Honestly, I feel like
this year's Saskatchewan team.
I feel like the mid-season Stampeders looked more special than the Riders do now. Remember, VA had them clicking there in the middle part of the year?
They did well. Yep.
So, that team looked a little bit more scary to me than the Riders do now.
That's the thing about this game on Saturday, though. We know that Vernon Adams has the capacity to be great.
Off.
And, I think back, was it 2012? Kevin Glenn. Remember Kevin Glenn?
Yeah.
When Kevin Glenn was great, he was out of this world. And Calgary came in here with a team that wasn't as talented as BC, and Kevin Glenn had him a day. And they won that day. The same sort of fear factor with Adams here this week for the Stamps. Results of the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. How should the Rogers Arena crowd treat JT Miller? Cheers or boos? People said.
Cheers.
Percentage?
65.
66. Very good. Tom, he's on the other team. Boo, baby, boo. See, we talked about this yesterday. For some, it's that simple. Brolius, wish I could be there to chant JT Miller one last time. Dermot says, should chant, we don't need you.
We don't need you.
Errors and omissions from yesterday's program. Cam Robinson said last time Miller and Pettersson met was Four Nations. They did play that game, Rangers Canucks, in March, the one that Elias left. So that was the last time they met. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels. Costs you nothing. YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, just hit that follow button. And, of course, follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky. And please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about. Keep it local.